Hello you wonderful people, and welcome back to a new video. I hope that you are excited for this one. It is going to be a very long one because for weeks and weeks throughout the months of March, April and May, Rob and I were working really hard to get the garden looking spring, summer ready again. We thought we did a lot of work last year. That was the first summer in our garden and we were really happy with it. And then I just feel like the garden is never ending. So I gave myself a list of jobs and I got to it. The first being to create a little bit of a eye catcher in the front garden. So I went ahead and dug this bed that I ended up filling with some hydrangeas, roses and a few perennial smaller plants. But before I get carried away, because I could honestly sit and talk to you for hours about the garden, make sure to grab a cup of tea and get cozy because, as I say, this is a long one. I really hope that you enjoy it, and if you're not already, make sure to subscribe. So I actually went on a walk the other day in a really beautiful village near us. Every single house was so beautiful and picturesque, and most of the houses had this plant outside. At first I thought it was peony, and then I thought it was a rose, but I was actually walking with Rob's mum and she said, no, that's a camellia. This is what it's called. I got the volunteer flower, I guess this time. It's this really vibrant, beautiful pink colour. It says they can go up to 2.5 metres, which is pretty impressive. So I really want to get this potted up today. I've got quite a lot of empty pots here because I weeded everything out the other day. I have got some old lavender, but I'm going to actually transfer that to a different pot because I think this pot will be really lovely and probably last quite a while for this camellia. So the soil is pretty moist, but I always just dip it anyway. And the roots don't look too bad, so I'm just going to pop it back in place. Then give it a good water. I usually leave the little labels with them as well, just so that I know what they are and how to look after them, especially in the beginning. I've actually got a hydrangea plant. This is the little blossom, and I thought it was dead, but it's actually got some really tiny green splashes over it, so I actually think it's going to come back to life, and it's a really pretty small white hydrangea. So I'm actually going to pot that up in this tiny container I've got here. So in the same garden centre I picked up some hellebores. This is the Ice and Roses Nightingale, and I also got the Ice and Roses Picotee. So this one's a dark purpley colour and this one's got some lighter white and purple flowers on it. I think these are typically a winter, early spring flower. I don't think we'll see much more going forward because it is now the end of March, but they are perennial, so hopefully they'll come back towards the end of the year and they'll give us that little bit of blossom that the garden needs in the winter time. Whoa, that is the biggest worm I've ever seen. Oh my god, that gave me a fright. Look at him, he's keeping this soil lovely in here. Good morning from me and my little friends. We have a lot of growth going on over here. Oh look, you can see the garden beds too. That's so fun. I can't wait for this to just be a vision. We have so much growth. It has been about 2 weeks. All of the tomato seeds have germinated. I've got 3 sweet corns which have germinated. One of them didn't. It grew roots, but for some reason it didn't come out of the top of the corn, which is interesting. So I got about half germination from the sweet corn, but they seem to be going really strong. Peppers, looks like all of those germinated too. We've got cucumbers, which have gotten really leggy. I've read that this is potentially because they don't get enough sunlight, which makes sense. So I'm really desperate to get them potted up into their own plant pots, and I can potentially get them outside in like a cold frame or something. And then I've got my okra, which also is doing really well, and I'm starting to get second leaves on a lot of them. So I know that I'm going to have to pinch out the tops of a fair few of them so that they go wider rather than leggy. And then onto my flowers. My cosmos zinnia are doing really well. I've got my, what's this? My scabosia, my sweet pea. Only one of them has germinated. Literally one sweet pea. My forget-me-nots have slowly come through. I thought they were a goner. And then my phlox as well, because I didn't think they were going to come through, but they've just taken a little bit longer. My other cosmos, the double Dutch whites, these ones get really tall. But I think I need to get them into their own pots and pot them up a little bit higher because they seem to get really leggy too. Then on the end, I've got my delphiniums, and there seems to be a couple of them trying to poke through there, but really not a lot at all. I also went a bit crazy and I planted a few different types of lettuce. We've got Butterhead making some red lettuce, which is like a salad bowl lettuce. I suppose all lettuce is salad bowl. And then the other day, literally 2 nights ago, I planted up some rocket, broccoli, cress and dill. The rocket is coming through really well. The rest of them, as I say, it's only been 2 nights, so they might take a little while longer. And then last night I also potted up some sweet peas. I let them soak overnight because this one, I don't think I'd let them soak, so they didn't germinate very well. Whereas these ones, I've got the Singing the Blues and the bouquet mixed. And then I'm using the toilet roll tube trick, which is how you start them off, because their roots like to go long rather than wide. So potting them up in something like this is good, and you can actually directly plant this into the soil because the cardboard decomposes. So it's a good way to use over your toilet roll tubes too. It's that time of the year when everything is just outdoors. I don't really have a lot of internal projects for the house. I just want to be outside and in the garden. So the other day I actually planted up quite a lot of stuff. And just in case you're wondering, this is what the sweet peas look like. I just popped them in a bowl with some water. You can see the water line there. I need to pot these ones up tonight because I didn't have enough toilet tubes, so I'm just going to do those directly in some soil and see how they go. And then I didn't show you this because I just needed to get a lot of stuff done off camera, but I have got a lot of plant pots here with hidden tubers inside. So for example, in this one I think I've got maybe 2 or 3 dahlia tubers, and then all of these ones are dahlia tubers. You can see where one of my ones that I planted up a couple of months ago, it's actually starting to come through. And this is a dinner plate, which is one of the most beautiful dahlias in my opinion. It's a huge flower, so I'm so excited for that to come out. I do have a couple of foxgloves that my mum gave me last year that she planted up from seed, and I'm terrible. I've left these in way too smaller pots, so I have actually bought some bigger plots, and I'm going to be transferring those over today because foxgloves are so beautiful and it would be such a shame for me to kill this plant. And then this morning I actually have put in some ranunculus in this big trough. I soaked these again. You're only meant to soak them for 3 or 4 hours, but I didn't realise, and I soaked them for 48 hours, so I'm hoping that I haven't given them any rot. But yeah, I just have popped about 10 of these along this plant here. Once they start to grow, if I do need to transplant them out, if they need more room, I can do so. But this is just a good way for me to kind of keep track of them. I need to give them a good water as well. So I'm just going to grab my watering can and give them a good soak. I'm thinking of putting my Christmas trees in the front of the house. What do we think about that? So I have just come back from Aldi, and they this week have got so many good gardening bits out in their middle aisle, and I ended up picking up this wooden cold frame. Now I didn't think I would need one of these because I'm getting the actual greenhouse. However, I think it will come in handy because you can kind of pick it up and maneuver it around the garden and have it over things that need a little bit of a smaller greenhouse effect. My greenhouse isn't actually here yet, and we're not going to have it for another couple of weeks, so I thought I'm going to grab this. I think it was like $29.99, and because I've started a lot of seedlings from seed, I've got tomatoes and pepper plants that kind of need a little bit more daylight. I need to bring them outside, but I don't want them to get cold. I thought this would be perfect, so we have a cold frame. I'm not going to lie, this feels very cheap. This feels like it will blow away in the wind. I need to figure out a way to secure this, anchor this to the ground. It does now have some base brackets on it, so I think I'm going to put some stones on there. I actually think that is for drilling it to the ground because it is so light it would just get swept away, but it is pretty snazzy, and it wasn't too difficult to build. The instructions were a little bit confusing, but once I got the hang of it, I got the hang of it. Good morning, my loves. So today Rob and I have walked around the garden and we've come up with a little bit of a plan as to how we're going to tackle getting some jobs done this weekend. The weather's really nice as well. So Rob is about to mow the lawn because our lawnmower is a little bit older now and the batteries die out really quickly. I think we're actually going to try and get a works lawnmower because then the batteries will be matching with all my tools, so we'll have endless batteries. And then we've done a little bit of a plan of edging out some borders, turning over some soil, getting some weeds out, trying to uproot some plants, some shrubs and bushes and trees really that we really don't want to see anymore in the garden. And I also really want to try and get some plants out this weekend because I've got my whole indoor greenhouse with all of my plants in the dining room and they really desperately need to be potted on now. So yeah, basically just getting on top of weeding and stuff. So let's go. Gone around after Rob went round with the, I think that's called an edging tool. I went round with the weed scraper, but it was a perfect tool to pull up all of the edges. I mean, our stones aren't actually very much in line there, but it still looks so much nicer now that it's neat. Our lawnmower is broken, the batteries won't charge, which is annoying, so I think we're going to try and head out later and maybe get a spare battery. But for now, these big bushes...
Oh, you turned around just as I was trying to get you.
That's so weird. These big bushes behind us, we're going to snip these all back. So I think it's laurel and a little bit of buddleia, which buddleia is so hard to keep on top of. So we're going to try and clip as much back as possible so that the greenhouse can go here and we'll not have to really worry about it this spring. And then we've also got some other ones to do the other side as well. We have got a couple of people in who are going to help us to uproot a couple of tree stumps that are in the ground and actually extract 3 trees in the corner of the garden, which are too hard for us to maintain. So here is where we are at. They've picked up some slabs already. We're actually going to rehome these. These are going to go and be our foundation for our bin store. And they're also going to take out this row of slabs too. Now, they had some real trouble and difficulties uprooting this particular stump, but they finally got it out, which is amazing. Honestly, buddleias are great trees because butterflies and bees love them. But when they get too big, they are unmanageable. Also have lucked out and gotten a load of compost for free. And this stuff is really good because it's been underneath the ground, untouched for years and years and years. Lovely, lovely stuff. So that's actually going to go straight into my beds. So this area is going to be the new base for the shed. So they're going to rip up those tiles, as I said, and they're going to put some hardcore down, slam it all down, and then they're going to do all of the laying of the tiles tomorrow. We're getting a Indian sandstone. It's called Raj Green. I know it's a slightly different tile to this one, but I just think it's going to look so much better overall, and it'll be a nice base for the shed because that's just going to stay there. I don't ever want to really move the shed. Hello, my loves. I am dressed in my best gardening outfit. These are my gardening overalls that my mum gave me. We are going to go outside because we have just got a skip arrived on our driveway today. We have 7 days to fill it, and we do have a lot of stuff to get rid of in the garden, from the back to the side to the front. So we're going to go out now. It's after work. We've got a couple of hours of sunlight in the evenings now, which is really nice. So we're going to try and just get as many of the really in-your-face things that are just down the side of the garden into the skip to clear it all out, and then we can make a list and focus on the things that we actually need to do in other parts of the garden. So the guys who were doing the paving also did this little bit for me here, bless them. So we've got some slabs left over from where they ripped up the previous paving, and I said, oh, I'll keep those because I'm going to put them at the front of the house where we store the bins because there's just mud there at the minute. He went in, used the digger and put some sand down for me, bless him, and like free of charge. What an absolute legend. I totally recommend this company. He also put this soil to the side for me because I said, I'm not sure what I'll do with that yet. I'll probably keep it, so that's just to the side, but if we do need to get rid of it, we can put it in the skip. So this is what I mean when I say we have just got so much rubbish down the side of the house, like old bricks, wood. We've honestly got so much rubbish that the previous builders have left here. We've also got this random blue netting across the base of the fence. I'm assuming this is here for a reason, potentially so that people couldn't see into the garden. We do have a lot of leaves that fall down from the beech trees in every autumn, so we're going to clear all these up because I think there's about 3 or 4 years worth of leaves here as well. And this is how the garden's currently looking. I can't wait to get it back to its lovely state.
Positioning, because this off going up, what we think. How's that pack of the skips?
Oh my god.
Show the camera.
What? It says, look, details, offer closes 31st of May 1995.
1995?
1995. Oh my god, look at this. This is how long this garden has not been cleaned up before. This is a packet of skips. Skips, when they did a deal with Barclays. Look at have you seen the Barclays logo?
No.
Actually, that's still pretty standard. Barclays Skips, 1995. They did a competition with Barclays, which closed 1995.
Have they got a price on them?
Crazy. Price. No, there's no price. Oh, that would have been great. Haha! That's so funny. So Rob and I have come out again because we have got the skip for another 3 days. It is Saturday and it gets collected on Tuesday. I don't know what time Tuesday, so we're just trying to get as much done as possible this weekend whilst we've got a free weekend. We have actually cleared the whole side of our garden now. It's so much cleaner and clearer, which is amazing. We do have a bit of a gravel bed at the front of the house, which I want to get rid of all those stones, dig out some of that gravel mess, so that I can potentially make this more of a nice flower garden bed in the future, because it's just really not a nice look when you walk up to the house. It's loads of weeds, it's really messy, it's not cute. So that is our aim right now. About 3 hours now we've been doing this bed honestly, but we've got it to a really, really good state. I'm actually so happy because it means that I can probably plant some plants in here and they're not going to die on us. I'm going to take a little bit of a lunch break, walk away from it and start a new project, and hopefully when we come back we've got fresh eyes and we can just do the final clean up and final turning and digging and stuff. But really, really happy with this.
Alright, this is me testing out the new camera. I'm gonna go and interview our host. A wild shower day. Huh? Talk us through what you're doing.
I'm taking my anger out on this tree. Trying to pull this whole tree down because this is the trunk of it here. It's a buddleia. It would have started out as such a small tree. I think it's a buddleia, pretty sure it is. But it's just everything. It's crazy, it's a mess. I would much prefer our beech trees to come back through and have their lovely green leaves.
You know what they say, don't they?
I'm going to take these out.
Life's a beach.
Life's a beach. I've got snips and I've also got the worked axis tools, so if we need a little bit more aggression on the trunks, we've got that too. Patio magic so that I can get rid of the algae on the fence. I was going to go with something called Wet and Forget. This is £12 and Wet and Forget was like £40 odd, and one of my followers DM'd me, although probably 200 people said, well, Wet and Forget is the best thing you'll ever use. One person said, I actually think Patio Magic works so much better, I've been using it for years. So I was like, I'm going to try the £12 one. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Then I'll go and spend the 40 quid, but tenner in the grand scheme of things, I'd rather save that money. So it says that this bottle treats up to 85 square meters, which is quite a lot. Okay, I think I'm essentially going to use this whole bottle. So that fence that's brown is kind of the fence colour that it should be, and that's the fence that gets a little bit of sun. And then immediately it goes green on these fences, so we're hoping this is going to work. because it's not due to rain for the next, I think, 2 days, and it's also not due to be super sunny, which is the perfect environment for this to work. So let's wait and see. So we've actually done quite a lot today. One of the final things I want to do though is to get some plants in this bed. I actually think I'm not going to do any of the vegetables just yet because I need to revisit my, I think it's my Grow Veg app, and see that I'm still happy with the layout of the beds that I did. So I might do that tonight and then plant them tomorrow. But I really want to get my sweet peas in because I know that my sweet peas are going to be climbing up the trellis regardless, and they are like, let me out. They're tapping on the window in the dining room. So yeah, I just want to get some of those into the soil. So we'll do that. Yeah, I wanted to do my herb pot. That'll be the last thing that I do, my herb pot over there. So I'm going to put the sweet peas in my herb pot, and if I have a smidge of energy, I might put some bulbs in the ground outside as well. Right, let's do it. I need to go inside though. I'm sick of taking these on and off. I need to get some short wellies because these ones are so long and they're really annoying to take on and off. But actually that won't be a problem when I've got the greenhouse, because I'll be in the greenhouse, in the shed, in the garden. I won't have to go inside anymore.